So what are core values? Core values, what does it mean, core values? Well, core values, it's defined as who we are and how we do things. Okay? So who we are, how we do things. Mission, what we do. Vision, what will happen. Core values, how do we implement the mission and the vision and the strategy. So core values are values that we embrace that will impact the way we make decisions, the way we plan. It's all about core values. Okay, so core values, so you understand the values that are most important to the organization, which guides its decision-making process. Believe it or not, the way you make decisions is not just dependent on mission, it's not just dependent on vision. Your core values will shape how you strategize. Another word for core values, the culture. Every organization has a culture. No organization has culture that's perfect. So we are always moving, adjusting our culture. And one of the biggest, hardest job of any leader is to change the culture. Some families, their culture is toxic. I've been to some families. My goodness, once I enter the house, I can tell already, this is tense. The whole situation is tense. That's their culture. Maybe the father is always short-tempered, or the mother is always angry. So every family has a culture. I have some other families, I go there, man, it's relaxing. Everybody's laughing. You know why? The culture there is fun. So every organization has culture. CCF is not perfect, but these are the cultures we embrace. Example of culture. Disney. What's the culture of Disney? Walt Disney. Safety, courtesy, fun, efficiency. That's what they value. Okay? Example of another culture. Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines is famous for fun-loving attitude. That's where this company today is trying to copy, Cebu Pacific. They try to copy, okay? But Southwest is the only airline company that continuously makes profit year after year. Southwest Airlines. Amazing culture. Can I tell you something about their culture? Because they are fun-loving. One day, there was a passenger who got annoyed. And the passenger wrote a complaint letter to the president. Because the steward was making fun, the stewardess, okay? They're putting on the life jacket, say, in case we crash, He dramatized everything. They were going to die. And then, he was trying to make people laugh. And then the customer said, please, don't do that. It's bothersome. You know what the president did when he got the letter? He wrote, dear customer, thank you for bringing up your concern. I'm really sorry. We will miss you. Because the president knows the culture. And the passenger is complaining about the culture. How many of you have heard of Ritz-Carlton Hotel? Look at their famous tagline. We are ladies and gentlemen, serving ladies and gentlemen. Look at their core values: genuine care, comfort, finest personal service, fulfills even the unexpressed wishes and needs of the guests. If you ask them a question, they will never use their nose and their mouth to point. Where is the toilet? They will never do that. You know what they'll do? They'll accompany you. Now, one day, a customer called. He was on the way to the airport. He said, I'm sorry, I left my laptop in my room. And I'm about to board the airplane. You know what they did? Without much fanfare, one of the staff got the iPad, took another airplane to meet the guy in Hawaii. When they landed in Hawaii, he went to see the guy, returned to him the iPad, took another flight back to where he came from. Let me ask you a question. What will happen to that customer who left the iPad, but they delivered the iPad to him at no extra cost? What do you think will happen to that customer? I tell you, that customer is going to be his customer, raving fan for life. And my friend, that's what I want your D group and CCF to be. Our culture should be such loving culture that people will come. Even if it's traffic, they will want to meet you. You know why? Because they love you. Hindi yung, ay nako, mabuti na lang, umulan. Okay. Biblical values. So what's our values? Biblical values we practice in order to accomplish our mission and vision. So I want to let you know, would you like to know CCF culture? All right. Now, I'm not saying we are perfect, but we have simplified the wordings of our culture. It's still the same, but we have worded it as follows. Our culture is love. Say that with me. Love. So what does it mean? Our culture here, we love God and love others. In other words, we emphasize whatever we do, it's about God. We love Him, and then we love others. So I tell our staff, I tell our managers, if you want to err, you err on the side of relationship. In other words, everything being equal, how do you make decisions? It might cost us a little bit more, but I will say we err on the side of relationship. I'll give you examples later on. So what's our first core value? Love. Turn to your neighbor. Tell your neighbor, I love you. And the reason I love you, because I love God. Okay? So we need to practice this love. So this month, what's our series in CCF this month? What's our messages? Radical love. Do you know this is preached all over the satellites? All over. Eventually all over the world. All CCF, we will learn radical love. Okay? Next, when you love God, you will obey. So our culture is obedience. We submit to God's word because we love Him. And we submit to human authorities. You know why? Because we love. You see, when you love God, you obey Him. When you obey God, you obey authorities. That's in the Bible. And I praise God, you will notice a lot about CCFers. We are not rebellious people. We submit to authorities. That's the culture here. Not perfect. We have minimal grumbling, minimal complaining, I hope, but that's what I heard. And then, when you love, you will volunteer. You will serve. That's why 90+% of all CCF staff are all volunteers. People don't realize this. Our satellites, our pastors, our leaders, they're all self-supporting. Are you aware of that? Because of love. Even our international satellites, many people don't realize. Our pastors in LA, in New Zealand, many of them are all what? Self-supporting. They volunteer. That's our culture, volunteer. You know why? Because we love. When you love, what will you do? Serve. That's natural. You cannot say, I love God, but you don't volunteer. And lastly, if you love, you begin at home. So that's a core value. In CCF, the family life is so crucial. My pastors know our value. You know, if they want to take a vacation, they just use the magic word. You know what's the magic word? I want to spend time with my family. Immediately approve. Why? That's culture. That's our value. We will allow pastors to take a break. If they have family problem, take a break. Fix up your family. That's value. What's the use of serving God and your family life is a mess? That's hypocrisy. So we don't allow that. So what's our value? Engage the family. So are you ready for me to expand our core values? What's our value? Love. Say that with me. Love. Yeah, very good. What's our core value? Love. All right, let's begin. Love God, love others. So I'll just go over quickly why it is love, because that's the greatest commandment. Remember? Somebody asked Jesus, what is the greatest commandment? And he said, the greatest commandment is what? Love God, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. So that's the greatest commandment. And he said the second is like the first. The second is like the first. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. And then he tells us, on these two commandments depend the whole law and prophets. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I suggest, Jesus simplified the entire Bible. He simplified the entire Christian life. Love God with all your heart and love one another. Now, when we say love, what do we mean by love? Let me have a quick review. Love is not just emotions. It is not just feeling. It is not just sentimentalism. Look at the biblical word for love. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? If even sinners love those who love them. If you do good to those who are good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do the same. So Jesus is talking about another kind of love. He's talking about real love. What is that real love? Everybody, read now. I say to you, this is real love now. Everybody, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Now, this is not a suggestion. This is what Jesus is talking about. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who mistreat you. Somebody shared with me just this morning, I was having a businessman's D group. And the guy told me, Peter, I began to pray for my, he didn't want to say the word in-laws. He talked about family members. He said, I really have bitterness against them. I really don't like them. But I began to pray, and he discovered something. If you pray for those who mistreat you, if you pray for those who don't like you, you cannot avoid but learn to love them. I have people who don't like me. I pray for them. And because I pray for them every day, there is no bitterness, there is no hatred, there's no anger. You know why? Because your anger is transformed to love when you pray for people you don't like. So I want to challenge you. You pray for people you do not like. You know how I used to pray for people I don't like? Lord, will you send judgment on them? And then I learned from the book of Proverbs, don't pray like that. I said, Lord, bless them. Now, that was hard for me. Reluctantly, I said, Lord, maawa ka naman sa kanila. Bless them. And then I began to pray, Lord, transform them. You try. I have a few people in my mind that I still pray for every day. That's what love is. Now, you try. How can you have enemies if you pray for your enemy every day? I guarantee you, you will learn to love them. Okay? Hey, this is not suggestion. These are values. You have to embrace this, love. Because we love God. You love people because you love the Lord. Okay. Look at what Jesus tells us. Love is our most effective witness. That's our core values. It's our most powerful witness. A new commandment I give you, love one another, even as I have loved you, so you must love one another. Ang kulit-kulit ni Jesus, okay? Love one another, love one another, love one another. By this, all men will know you are my disciples. Here he comes again. If you love one another. But what's the purpose? By this, everybody, all men will know that you are my disciples. So, my friend, our most powerful tools, our most powerful instrument for witnessing is love. Now imagine what Christians are known for. I'm not saying CCF, but traditional Christians all over the world. You know what are we noted for? Gossip, judgmental spirit, division, not unity. We have big problems. The world do not respect Christians because they find us judgmental, they find us unloving, because we don't know how to love. So, brothers, sisters, what's our core value? Love. Shall we practice love? Okay. Very good. You know, I will teach you how to love people. Just always remember this. According to Jesus, in everything, treat people the same way you want them to treat you. For this is the law and the prophets. You know, I have to apply it this Sunday. Somebody called me. I have some guests from the States. So they're going to come to my house for Sunday night dinner. And my tendency is they are staying in somewhere in the fort, and I know they have money, so take Uber, okay? Uber. So they will take Uber. But you know, I was thinking, do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Since I have a car, and since I was assigned a driver, anong mamawala sa akin? I was going to another place. So I decided I will drive myself to this other place and ask this driver to pick them up. But my first reaction was, take Uber. Come to my place. But you know what? Do unto others. I remember one time with my wife. You know how it is with your wife? You take each other for granted. So, do unto others as you want them to do unto you. Gentlemen, you try this approach. And every morning, you'll be bringing her something. You know, water, or you'll be nice. You'll be a nicer person. What do you think? Would you be a nicer person if you do to others as you want them to do unto you? Yes or no? All right. So I want you to think now, tonight, what will you do to your family members tonight? Okay, think. Tonight, just tonight, practice. What do you want them to do to you tonight? Massage? Sige. You go home, you massage them. What do you want them to do to you? Are you now thinking? You practice this, I tell you. Pretty soon, your family members will say, can I go with you to Bible study? You know why? Because they'll be so touched by your love. See, people come to Christ, they're not impressed by your words. It's action. All right, so love is the sum of the law. Loving God is the sum of all moral obligation, meaning if you love God, you will live a moral life. You will obey His commandments. If you love one another, it's the sum of all moral ethics. You will not lie, you will not cheat, you will not commit adultery for the simple reason is you love your partner. If you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, you will not have sex with that person because you know it is not good for her. It is not good for you. Why? Love is the sum of all moral ethics. You try this, and your life will never be the same. Now, where do you practice love? Very easy. At home and in small groups. Do you know there are over 100 verses in the Bible about encourage one another, stimulate one another, admonish one another, comfort one another, serve one another, pray for one another. And do you understand? The word one another in the New Testament, in the Bible, is over 100 times. You cannot obey these commandments if you are not part of a small group. So being part of a small group is really not optional, if you ask me. Because there's no way you can obey the Lord by not being part of a small group. You try. Okay, you try. Be alone. Sige nga, practice mo. Encourage one another. Be alone. You try. Ang hirap. So, example of Bible verses to tell you why it's a community. Everybody read. Consider how to stimulate one another to love and good deeds, not forsaking our own assembling together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another. Notice. And all the more as you see the day drawing near, as you see Jesus coming soon, the more you should what? Be part of a small group. And what do you do in small group? How to stimulate one another to do two things, to love and good deeds. So every time I'm with people, I always ask myself, how can I stimulate them? How can I encourage them? No longer selfish. Many of you attend a small group. What will I get out of this meeting? What can they do for me? That is immature. Now your mind is changed. How can I bless you? How can I stimulate you to love and good deeds? So will you evaluate yourself quickly? Rate yourself. 1, not true, somewhat true, true, very true. These are the things you can check yourself, okay? Is there anything or anyone in my life that competes with my affection for God? 1, not true, very true. Do I consistently show love to my family, friends, and co-workers? Do I gossip? Do I speak the truth in love? Later on, you will have time, but I just want you to be thinking, okay? So in the area of love, everybody, so that you'll be relaxed, 1 to 5 in the area of love, okay? 5, you are as loving as Jesus. 1, you are as loving as the devil. 1 to 5. Where are you? In the area of love. Love for God, love for one another. Okay, are you not thinking? Okay.